that shame just ruined me. It almost put me down 6 feet under. I realized that it's so powerful that it has literally changed the narrative of who I view myself as a person. Our brain plays these different realities and perspectives and assumptions that may or may not be true.
Highest Version Podcast.
Hey everyone, welcome to the Highest Version Podcast. I'm your host, Rennie Fellavong, and on this podcast, we talk about falling in love with the process of getting better every day, becoming the highest version of ourselves. Guys, it is June. Holy-ish, where did the time go? I mean, time flies when you're having fun, right? It's like time flies because we are grinding, we are working hard to become the highest version of ourselves. Hope y'all are doing well. Hope y'all are grinding it out, getting after it, and just having the best time on this journey to become the highest version of yourself. If you're going through struggles, if you're having a tough time right now, just letting you know that the time will soon pass. You have the strength to get through it. Just keep working hard. All that to say, we are back with a solo podcast, and I think you guys love this format of my 1-1-1, which is one thing that has helped me become the highest version of myself, one thing that I'm progressing towards to become the highest version of myself, and one thing that I wish I knew sooner. So without further ado, let's get into it. So one thing that has helped me become the highest version of myself, and this is a two-part one because I think they go together. Part A is putting yourself out there. Now, I completely get it. If you identify as an introvert, it could be very nerve-wracking and it's hard to put yourself to talk to strangers and whatnot. But I think there is so much of a benefit of putting yourself out there. As people say in networking, it's not who you know, it's who knows you. By putting myself out there has allowed me to meet all new people from different walks of life, learning about their experiences, their journeys on how, they look at life. It has also allowed me to build these great deep connections and build my village. Now, I talked about this concept before about what it means to build a village, building the community and the closest people around you to help you also become the highest version of myself, where you can not only get to that hill of success or be on the come up, but bring those with you as well. And there's a quote that I always remember, and this is something it says, Jim Rohn, you're the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. And it makes sense, right? If you're hanging out with these 5 people that you hang out around a lot with, their behaviors, their intention, whatever they do, will ultimately have an influence on you just because you guys are spending a lot of time with each other. So what do you want that core group to look like? What do you want? Who are the type of people you want to surround yourself with? If you are someone who's trying to, run a marathon or get, have success in your fitness journey, you want to be around people who either have succeeded it or on that same journey so that you guys can build towards success together. Now, I'm not saying to always, go up into a cafe or a public place and introduce yourself, but maybe the first step really is if you're going to a party or a hangout with friends where you don't know that person and, friends bring in from different groups and going up to that person and saying, hey, my name is blah, 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 blah. And that way that you make your presence known in a way sense like, hey, like that person came up to talk to me. Don't remember their name, but at least they know that, that you are there and that you are a presence. And I think that simple first step can build your social skills to just put yourself out there and make that kind of fear and fear and nervousness and anxiousness to talk to someone new a little bit less as you continue to do it. Now, a very core memory of mine of high school was meeting my friend Tin. And this is a story of where I put myself out there. Now, I've always been a social butterfly and wanting to, meet new people always. If I see someone new in class, like I always say hi to them in the hallway. But this situation with my friend Tin is a really beautiful one. So I didn't know at this time, but I was going to watch a school play with my group of friends, about 10 of us. I saw that Tin was there too. He was sitting by himself in another part of the theater. And I was like, hey, I know that guy. There wasn't a lot of Asians in my high school. So Tin, who's Vietnamese, I was like, hey, Asians got to stick together. So we need to be introduced to ourselves. So I went up to Tin. I was like, hey man, like I know you. I know, my brother, I think knows your sister or something like that. Why don't you come and sit with us? And he came and sit with us and became part of their friend group. And it's actually so sweet because Tin actually mentioned that moment of us becoming friends in his high school graduation speech. And I got to hear it live. And I was like, oh, like I didn't realize that would be such a core memory for him. Our friendship continued to build and build and hung out so much more often. And, we talked through our own problems and struggles together. And it's crazy just because by me putting myself out there and, putting out a hint of like, hey, this is who I am. Let's hang out more, or, whatever it is. It was able to build a really great friendship. And we still continue that to this day. If I didn't take the time or take the opportunity to put myself out there, I wouldn't have been able to create this like great friendship with Tin. Part B of all this is being vulnerable. Now, I think my superpower is my vulnerability, as well as creating a safe space for other people. When I ask others, my friends, my closest friends, what is my superpower, or what do you think is something that I'm really good at? And a lot of people say is creating this safe space. And part of that is because I'm vulnerable with, my own journey with mental health and my own depression, but even just, hey, like this is what I'm working on. This is what I've been struggling with. This is where I want to be. This is my dreams. Being vulnerable doesn't always have to mean talking about sad stuff. It's getting beyond that level of, hey, do you like weather? How's it going? Like the very surface level stuff. I think it's actually so important to allow yourself to be vulnerable and have that trust with others, because that's how you really build, again, those core 5 people or that village that you want to be around. So that way, the two of you or whoever that person you have a connection with can really build a great relationship and then help each other through times of struggles. It just allows for in my eyes, a better human experience, because who just wants to go through a surface level friendship that you're just saying, you're not really talking about what's going on inside. What is making you worry? What is something that you're striving for and working hard on? What are you passionate about? It just makes the conversation and makes the connection a whole lot more meaningful versus just, hey, this is what I'm doing, or, just think of your very, very surface level relationship, like more of an acquaintance, right? Having these like core friendships just builds a lot more memories and builds that connection that makes life experiences that you guys do together a whole lot better. So 2 parts of this that I feel like has made me become the highest version of myself is the vulnerability, being vulnerable. Sorry, that was part B. Part A of that was putting myself out there. And I do have to credit my brother, just being able to see him as the mayor of the town, and put that in quotation marks because he was a social butterfly. Everybody knew him. He knew everyone. Everybody loved being around him. And just observing his social skills of putting himself out there, always introducing himself when he enters a room. People having like this core memory of remembrance of, hey, that guy came and talked to me. When, sometimes it really is hard for people to put themselves out there. So when you have someone come up, when you're the person that comes up to that person, it kind of builds that wall maybe a little bit down so that they can, start a chain reaction. Thank you, bro, if you're listening. If not, that's totally cool. But thank you for building my social skills and helping me putting myself out there, because it has allowed me to have these amazing friendships and amazing connections that I am so happy to have now. So appreciate you, bro. So moving on to the next section of this podcast, it is one thing that I am progressing to help me become the highest version of myself. And the thing that I've been working on, and this is something that I brought up a couple podcast episodes ago, is the topic around, it's mostly healing from shame. Now, as time has gone by and I've been doing a lot more research into it, I've realized about how much power and how much influence shame has on my life. I realized that it's so powerful that it has literally changed the narrative of who I view myself as a person. It has changed what I thought was my identity. And I've brought this before about how the experience that really put myself into depression, like beforehand, I really thought I was this type of person, and then I made some mistakes along the way, and that shame just ruined me. It almost put me down 6 feet under. This is something that just obviously it's on an emotional scale, and something that I just either haven't healed from or don't know how to deal with. Again, I've been listening to more podcasts. I found a really good one that I really want to dissect and apply it to all those moments I feel like have a significant shame portion of it. So there's more to come there, and there's more to unpack with myself. And I found myself tearing up and having some cry moments because just that feeling and how much it has puppeteered my life. So what I'm trying to do now moving forward is learning a few things. One, where does this come from? My speculation and theory is that shame comes from growing up in an Asian immigrant household. When you're in an environment that makes you feel like you're not enough, whatever you do is never enough, as well as when mistakes are happening, it's like the punishment for it is on a very high scale. Now, I never was physically hit as, an Asian kid growing up, but I think the verbal hit real hard. And seeing intense moments of my family go through the turmoils when mistakes were made and how the consequences of that happened, I think it has really taught me how to really self-sabotage myself into being a perfectionist. And that is so hard to hear because I didn't really have a lot of wiggle room to make mistakes, to always be a perfectionist, to always be perfect to the public eye, so that in a way, like my parents get the trophy of it all. And again, I'm not putting a lot of blame on my parents. Like, did the best they could moving to a different country and seeing how to parent in a country that has different societal rules compared to when they were back at home in Laos. Obviously, they're just trying to do their best, trying to survive as immigrants as well as take care of 2 kids. That's hard. So anyways, trying to understand like where that come from, those moments in my childhood that really created this shame and self-sabotage tendencies. Another part of it is understanding the behaviors that I'm doing related to shame and self-sabotage. When it comes to criticism, whether it's about my work, dance, anything, even the littlest of things, my brain really navigates to, why didn't I do that right? Why couldn't I understand like this is how you should do things? Or why I should have done that this way? Why didn't I think of it that way? Those are the things that I need to dissect even more of how to really prevent or overcome that shame portion of it. And again, I know a part of it is that perfectionism part of myself, not using the word should or would or could because it's something like, oh, we don't have to do anything. So again, allowing my awareness and observant mind to understand the behaviors that I have so that I can correct them moving forward. And of course, part of that is just figuring out how to deal with shame in the moment, because shame literally takes me out of my life. Like I put myself in this shameful world when I make a mistake or something happens, and like I'm kind of just out of it for a day or two. I really need to like bring that into a very quicker time to resolve it. So more to come on that. And I think I just want to emphasize that shame, if you're going through this too with self-sabotage or shame, that it's something that's going to take a lot of work to heal from. And it may be tough going back to those moments where you really feel shameful about whether that's, a mistake that you made or a regret that you have. But understanding that I'm here too to figure this out and to help provide any information that I help you guys on this journey of overcoming your shame. So that is one thing that I am surely focusing on progressing towards, on being recovered from, or a solution to how to deal with shame on a day-to-day basis. Moving on to the next section of this is one thing I wish I knew sooner. And one thing that I wish I knew sooner was this quote. I forgot who it was from, a great philosopher in history, but is we often suffer in our imagination than reality. And the reason why I wish I knew this sooner was because I was playing with the idea of what ifs. What ifs can really mess with our brain because we are not really facing reality. We are in this idea of fantasy scenarios, trying to figure out what timeline that we need to fulfill to get to where we want to be. It's kind of like Doctor Strange when he's like looking at all those all those different ways on how to like kill Thanos or beat Thanos, and he's like, there's only one way. If you guys are Marvel fans or remember that, it's kind of like that. It's like with our what ifs, it's like trying to figure out what would happen in this scenario and this scenario. And thinking about it now, it's kind of like with my dad and how I think of worst case scenarios, like always trying to be prepared for the worst case scenario It's thinking of so many different situations and how to deal with them, if this happens or that happens. But it creates a lot of anxiety. It creates a lot of not stagnant. You also become very stagnant because you're not making any moves towards dealing with whatever that what if that you're contemplating about. One story that I will always say is probably my biggest what if moments, or something that made me suffer in my imagination, is a high school core memory of mine, is that it took me 4 years to tell my high school crush that I liked them. And you know why it took me 4 years? Because I was suffering in my what ifs. Like, this was my best friend at the time. I was like, what if we start dating and we break up and then we don't become friends anymore? That's a possibility. What if, things go south and that they don't want to talk to me anymore? It's kind of like thing, right? Kind of like those things, right? And that was me suffering in my imagination because it took me 4 years to do it. And I feel like a lot of people keep themselves stagnant, especially if you're single, like going up to someone or telling someone about how you feel because there's some what if repercussions of, I want to still have this relationship with them, yada, yada, yada. Like, I think we need to stop playing with the what ifs and start facing the reality. It's like thinking about things that are going to happen before it happens. It's like, wait, like none of those situations that you've been playing hasn't even happened yet. So how do you know how to react and respond? I feel like if we face the reality of, what is instead of what could have been, should have been, blah, 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 we are able to react, respond, be more adaptable in ways that life throws us curveballs. Huge in my therapy work was understanding facts versus assumptions. And this is my other example where I suffered in my imagination, because at that time when I made the mistake and I was afraid that all my friends had this view of me and this very negative view of me, that I am a monster and stuff like that, my therapist was like, go talk to your friends and ask them what they remembered from that time. And obviously this was like, 3-4 years ago, and that they have some hard time thinking about, what happened, because obviously they're over it. I'm not over it. That's what we're working on, right? But understanding the facts of it versus the assumptions of what they viewed of me. So when I had these like hard, difficult conversations with my friends of, hey, do you remember that time where I made this mistake? Like, what did you think of me at the time? And they're like, I understand, man. Like, you made a mistake and, you're learning from it. And I think you're just being really harsh on yourself now. And it's like, whoa, I thought you had this not preconceived, but this view of me that you didn't want to be associated with me at that time, or that you didn't want to talk to me. And that person was like, no, not at all. Like, I wanted to be there for you, but I know you were going through a hard time. So I gave you the space that you needed. And it's like, so for the longest time, I thought that you had this view of me that you didn't want to be associated with me. And when in reality, that wasn't the case. So my assumptions of how people viewed me was contrary to the facts that I soon came to discover. And having that conversation with a friend, they were saying, no, you are this great, amazing person. I think just that time you make a mistake. You didn't have the best knowledge in your head at that time. And that's like completely okay. And I'm like, wow, why didn't I ask people sooner? And talking over with my therapist, she was saying, see, like, our brain plays these different realities and perspectives and assumptions that may or may not be true. We have to be focused on the facts of life, the facts of the things that happened, to really heal from it. Because sometimes we suffer from the things that we thought happened, or what other people perceived as happening. I hope that made sense to you guys. But you can see in these situations where we're anxious about things that we think happened or thought happened, or just a lot of imagination that wasn't in our favor. But when we really look at the facts, or face what it is, or just face reality, we are able to figure out the true truth, the real truth. And that could be something that can really turn around our journey of what if, just like the way that it has opened my eyes, to help me heal throughout my journey of becoming the highest version of myself, to help me heal from my depression. So that's something that I wish I knew sooner for, obviously from some old high school love stuff, but also just in life in general, and facing the what ifs of all the different scenarios I play in my head so I can understand what to do in order to keep moving forward. So I hope you guys really enjoyed this episode. I hope there's something that you guys really took from it. If you liked any part of it, please make sure to clip it, tag me in it, and share it with your community. If there is something that you guys feel like would make your experience better listening to the podcast or consuming my content, please feel free to DM me, email me. My email is in my Instagram page. Anything I can do to help you become the highest version of yourself, is something that I really want to do. So all in all, I hope you guys took something from this episode and learned something new. Again, we are in this together. You are not alone. We're all trying to just become the highest version of ourselves. We can lean on each other to just help each other out. So overall, thank you guys again so much for listening, for being part of my journey, and I hope to help you in your journey as well. And as always, let's fall in love with the process of getting better every day and become the highest version of ourselves. I love y'all.